Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all, I hope you're all are having a fantastic Thursday, because God knows I'm exhausted at this point. Exactly. No sleep whatsoever, but I'm here, folks, talking sports, and I'm joined once again by the man himself, the myth, the legend, all-around great guy with a fantastic beard, Mr. David Dykstra. David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing...
It's been one hell of a day, folks. It really has. It's been so long. But seriously, how are you?
We achieved.
We did.
We have. I feel like I've at least put in a full day. I know. I'm pretty sure you've put in a full day.
I've put in at least 2 straight full days at this point.
Des was doing a tour today, and she comes in and she introduces me to the guy, and she's like, what time did you wake up this morning? I was like, 2:30. I've been up since 2:30 this morning.
And I don't say that in a happy way.
I don't mind it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
We do this because we love it, not because we get paid to do it.
Yet.
Wink, wink.
Yet.
But that being said, I'm happy to be here. Unfortunately, yeah. I wish the gorgeous man above, or not above, but beside, was here. But
yes. Unfortunately, Drew still can't be here. I won't get into it. I don't want to get into anything, but obviously things are going on right now. So all I say to everybody out there, please send him love, send him your thoughts,
positive
all that
vibes.
good stuff, everything.
Positive vibes.
As Hannah Brummer always says, ladies and gentlemen, send out those positive vibes to our boy, Drew Gwillem, ladies and gentlemen. He certainly could use them, so please. But obviously, I mean, my man, we've got a ton of stuff we got to talk about.
That didn't make it any easier today.
First off, I had everything kind of planned out.
Listen, I will vouch for this man. Everything was ready to go yesterday.
Yes.
We had the show planned out. We knew what we were talking about. And then the world of sports goes, no.
Absolutely.
They matumboed us.
Yes, of course, as it should, because it does this to us all the time. If it's not after the show, the news breaks, it's always just before. So thank you so much, Sports World. David, are you ready to get into this?
Let's go, man.
Let's do this, folks. So, yes, if you haven't heard by now, where have you been? But, yes, the news is out. Breaking news, if you will. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Chocolate starfish.
Yes. The man who should be pointing his finger guns to the sky at all times. Deshaun Watson has officially agreed, along with the NFLPA and the NFL, coming to a disciplinary settlement, if you will, of 11 games and a $5 million fine.
That is not the proper picture, sir. There we go.
Well, I detailed it out in our boy TJ's script on how I wanted it to play out.
He needs to.
But when Chocolate Starfish has said, finger guns go up. So,
in more ways than one.
But obviously, this is kind of something we were waiting for. We weren't sure exactly when this news was going to drop. Some real quick details into it before we really get into the explanation of it. As well as being suspended and will be pushing this $5 million fine. It will also be undergoing mandatory evaluation by behavioral experts. That fine will also be equipped with the NFL and the Cleveland Browns putting $1 million each into nonprofit organizations to help educate about relationships and sexual assault and harassment and things like that. And as far as it stands right now, he is still in camp. He can still be a part of training camp and still be actually in preseason games, but the suspension doesn't start until August 30th when teams have to cut down to 53 rosters. And he will not be eligible to officially be back in play until week 13, which ironically, he plays his old team at home in Houston.
I think it's week 12.
Last I saw was week 13.
Is it week 13?
It's week 13, yeah. Because they have a bye week. Okay. But David, obviously, I mean, we knew something was going to come down from this. We had heard the NFL was saying a full year ban. Obviously, they came to a compromise on this. What are your thoughts on the 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine for Deshaun Watson? What are your feelings on it? Give me all those thoughts, man.
The rumor was that NFL was pushing for 12.
Yes.
Because they did not want him to play Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Why they gave in, I have no clue. That to me does not make sense. You're going to have him play. Is it at Houston or at Cleveland?
It's at Houston.
See, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. That's a little bit of buffoonery on the NFL part.
Mm-hmm.
NFL's part. This is where all this went down. This is the state, the city, the organization in which let him do this as well. And now you're letting him play that game. Bad move.
Yeah.
Bad move. So you have to lessen the fine. I'm okay with that as long as he's not playing in Houston. I have a huge issue with that. That is going to be imagine those women that he assaulted that probably still live in Houston.
Yeah.
Now having to have him come back to that city.
Right. He's going to be all over the headline news that week, of course. And if you're one of those women who are impacted by living in Houston, I can't even imagine the feelings that would probably come up in that moment, the emotions that would be there. Dude, for all of them, it was traumatizing. Some of them quit their jobs even.
Yeah. I mean, and these were high-end massage therapists. This wasn't, oh, look, it's a massage parlor inside an outlet that's like 10 feet long.
Right.
And you walk in and all the windows are blacked out kind of thing.
Yeah.
These were professional women that got forced to do something. And I'm going to say it. They got forced to do something they didn't want to do because obviously if he hadn't done it, this would have went away.
Right.
He paid them off, a majority of them. And now they're letting him go back to let's just say, the scene of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
And make that not just the women of that city uncomfortable, but that whole city uncomfortable.
Right.
If I was Deshaun Watson, I wouldn't want to go back there. I'm going to guarantee you he's going to get death threats.
Oh, I'm
guarantee
sure.
you.
He's already getting a chance in Cleveland.
Am I endorsing that? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But I'm going to guarantee you it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially in Texas.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you consider how this entire situation has played out, I mean, we've been talking about this now for over a year at this point. We knew we've heard about from the very first cases to up until this point, considering everything that's happened in between. To think that he would go back to Houston, that's the point where you would say, oh, well, that's when you'll come back. It just, like you said, it just feels like it's bad optics. It's bad optics on the NFL. It's bad optics on Roger Goodell. It's bad optics. It's certainly going to be bad optics for Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's pretty much probably going to be told, don't leave your hotel room because we can't take any chances. God only knows you need one person who certainly gets emotional about it and maybe feels the need to throw something at you or try to attack you or something. You have to think about that kind of stuff, especially when you consider how much the Browns decided to invest in him after all of this, which is
think about
unreal.
What the security is going to have. You work security.
Oh yeah,
imagine
absolutely.
what that security is going to have to go through for that game.
I'll tell you, I've worked private security for I can't disclose names, of course, that's policy, but I've done it for some people who obviously they're pretty high-end people. They've got certainly deep pockets. It is tight-knit all the time. Nobody's coming near the table. You're making sure that the bathroom's even clear for the person. There's a point where you just know, like, nobody can get within probably about 10 feet of these guys. Like, seriously, like that. And this is a guy that is high profile. His face is everywhere. Everyone knows his name. He's going to have at least like 8 bodyguards probably on him at any given point.
Well, not even that. Let's talk about the security that's going to happen at the football stadium.
Yeah.
With people trying to sneak in to throw at him.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. Bags are probably going to be checked left and right.
Is that a bag of feces that you have in your backpack?
Right.
And I'm not joking about this. I truly am not. I fear for the man's life.
Yeah.
I truly do, because there's distinct outrage over this, and there are people out there that will do something stupid
yeah.
about it.
Absolutely. Well, So I want to read a little bit of something because this was the statement that was put out by the Browns for Deshaun Watson, or from Deshaun Watson via the Browns, if you will. Just real quick, this is the statement. He said, "I'm grateful that the disciplinary process has ended and extremely appreciative of the tremendous support I have received throughout my short time with the Browns organization. I apologize once again for any pain this situation has caused. I take accountability for the decisions I made. My focus going forward is on working to become the best version of myself on and off the field and supporting my teammates however possible while I'm away from the game. I'm excited about what the future holds for me in Cleveland." Now, that's what he said via the Browns in a statement himself. He made the statement, and the Browns put it out there.
It's a great lawyer statement.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if you had heard his previous meet with the media after game one.
I'm going to sit down with the lawyers of the Cleveland Browns and come up with a statement.
In preseason game one, just before it, he had an interview with the media, and I don't know if you had heard the apology he gave, but he said, "I apologize to the women." I'm just generalizing it, but he basically was kind of like saying, "I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to get therapy, all this stuff." And I'm sorry, maybe it's biasy because of the situation. I don't know. But it certainly, to me, sounded like he wasn't too apologetic. It sounded like a PR statement that somebody put down and said, "Read this, memorize it, and say this to the media." It sounded like a clear, right, we will write this out and you will say the right words.
Memorize it.
Right, memorize it and make sure you know what to say, because if you say one wrong thing, we're gonna slap with you. And it's like too little too late. You should have said this a long time ago. But then the problem also comes is that there was another statement he said today. If I can, I'll read this real quick. It is about how he apparently still maintains his innocence to this point. This was said today, being Thursday. This was said. He said, "I'll continue to stand on my innocence just because settlements and other things like that happen doesn't mean that a person is guilty for anything. I feel like a person has an opportunity to stand on his innocence and prove that, and we proved that from a legal side, and just going to continue to push forward as an individual and as a person." Now, David, I mean, hearing the first statement, I hear the words, "I'm apologizing for this. I hold accountability for this." But then you come out today and then you say, "I still maintain my innocence." And yet beforehand, before this whole thing, you were saying, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. Sue Robinson comes out with her decision and basically says, "Well, you lied to us because this is all proof that says you sexually assaulted these women." And then he goes out in that preseason game and he says, "Yeah, I apologize for that stuff and what I did to these women."
I think if you want me to dive into the psyche of let's just say a Deshaun Watson or an athlete of that ilk.
Yeah.
It's an egomaniacal, narcissistic tendencies. He truly does feel like he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He is above whatever law there may be.
Right.
He can find ways to work around said law, and those are the most dangerous people of all. And I'll give you an example. O.J. Simpson. Everybody knows the story, knows the trial, was found innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But in civil court, guess what happened? They found him guilty.
Yeah.
I will tell you to this day, he did it. And I don't think there's anybody that would refute that claim. There's some. There's always some.
There's always going to be those that would maintain the innocence.
But that being said, do you think anybody has looked at OJ the same way since?
No, and that's the thing. And obviously, look, between these two, OJ's whole thing, he went to trial, right? It was about a murder of his ex-wife and a friend of hers, I guess, or I believe, or something like that. Whatever the case is. But obviously he was proven innocent. Yes, on the court side, he's innocent until proven guilty. The problem is, though, the court of public opinion always stands out there as well. And while, yes, you should take that with a grain of salt, of course, whatever the case is, but the court of public opinion, when it comes to famous people, celebrities, athletes, whatever the case, they oftentimes will set the tone as far as where your market is, if I'm not wrong, correct?
Correct.
Because we just saw yes, it was comical, but we just saw this with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, where now people are rallying behind Johnny Depp, and it seems like his career will most likely come back on some sort of slingshot, and he will be back on the rise, I'm sure. At no point, somebody somewhere will give him his opportunity to come back and get back to where he was once before, whereas Amber Heard, now she's kind of landed herself
completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And I had something come across my feed the other day that she's actually, as it always goes, speculation is that she is in talks with an adult film company.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, good. You're finding work, I guess. I don't know. But
But with her name recognition, that will be
exactly
millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, of course. And good on you for using your name to be able to do that. But
I just hope it isn't a Cleveland Steamer kind of movie. That would be just.
But no, thank you, please. But
she does know her poop, though, from what I understand.
That's true. It's
no, but getting back to the serious aspect of this, it to me, I don't know if he ever recovers from this. And let's just go to that first preseason game.
Right.
He looked like trash.
He looked like a guy that hadn't played football in 500 days. 1, 2, I
think the crowd got to him.
Oh, I don't doubt that. And
if you're going to be that soft mentally, you're not, because you're going to get booed everywhere. Probably even in your home stadium, dude. Like, seriously.
He just was.
Was that in Cleveland?
That was in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. TJ, that was in Cleveland, correct? No. I'm just.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I was pretty sure it was in that.
That should tell you everything that you need to know.
Yeah.
Like, that is ridiculous. And if you can't maintain your composure at home, good God, can you, I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
That it will be like you're going to a WWE or an AEW match when he plays Houston. The crowd reaction will be so thunderous and so over the top. I'll guarantee you that whoever's covering that game is going to be told not to pick up any crowd noise.
Oh, I don't be surprised if when that hits, the rain of boos hit as soon as he steps out on the field. Like, that will happen.
But what I'm
there
saying
will be
is
signs. There will be all kinds of stuff.
Just like the White Sox tried to drown out the Fire Tony.
Right.
I'm going to guarantee you, whether it be Fox or CBS, they're going to do something to drown out the boos.
Oh, I'm sure they'll turn down the mics or whatever for the outside noise or tell the commentators keep the conversation going so we don't hear the outside stuff, because I'm sure the fans are going to be brutal. And look, the punishment that obviously has been landed here, I'll say I'm glad. I wish it was a full year. I think all of us kind of do at this point.
Absolutely.
I am glad that the NFL pushed for a bigger punishment. Here's
my only question about that.
Yeah.
And I'll say this right now. I think the NFL was worried that if they gave him a year, he would have said, well, I sat out last year, so there's my year.
And then here comes a lawsuit, and then then the continuance, so he gets to play, and then who knows how long that gets dragged out.
Exactly.
But I will say that I will also say that on a counter saying that point, I think there's a good point there. I heard somebody say, is it possible maybe that Deshaun Watson, and this was all speculation, of course, but Deshaun Watson's agent and lawyer maybe went to him and said, look, man, if you fight the NFL on this, after everything that's now come out, because you can't fight the evidence that was given out by Sue Robinson. There's no arguing that stuff. It's arguing the suspension of a full year against the NFL. That's what you're suing about. If that happens and you're suing to try and stay in the game after they're trying to suspend you for a full year, think of the optics of what that is. You're already hurting yourself on one end because you just got suspended, and they're saying in this paper, Sue Robinson's saying, egregious and predatory behavior. That's not good.
No.
She said sexual assault happened between you and these women. So you lied. Now you're going to sue the NFL? That's like strike 3 pretty much. And everybody then all of a sudden is just like, to hell with this guy. And I honestly think that the punishment itself is not really going to be the main thing. It's going to be the punishment that comes afterwards that I hope will kind of hang around, which is that people will keep this on his name for as long as he's a player. Because
any shot he had of being a Hall of Famer is gone.
No, absolutely.
Gone.
Any shot of him, in my opinion, being a superstar or even a star of a high caliber, even if he has a 5,000-yard year with 50 touchdowns, I don't think he has.
They'll never give him the MVP.
No, they'll
never give him the MVP.
It feels like he has completely lost all credibility with fans, the NFL. I still wonder now where the players are at in the locker room, where the former Houston players are at. You know,
I will be honest with you. I'm almost going to guarantee you that Myles Garrett's has got that locker room on lockdown, and don't say a damn word about it. Let's do our jobs. Let's play our games.
Do the Patriot thing.
Yep.
Just move on
Head
from
down,
it. Yeah.
Move forward.
Can't comment about it. We got to get to the next game. Let's talk about the next game.
Yep.
And that's the smart thing to do. But I think the punishment that stands here now, he'll miss 11 games. He'll pay, and $5 million is a lot. Like, you think about it, Dan Snyder had to pay that $5 million fine most recently too. So he's paying a pretty hefty fine for a player. I will give him that. I've never seen that in the NFL in my life. A 7-figure fine that big, that's a lot. But he does have a giant guaranteed contract, which, by the way, pissed off a lot of the owners in the NFL. They're not happy about the fact that the Browns essentially awarded a guy for such egregious behavior. So keep that in mind. The NFL is not very happy right now with the Haslams for what they did. But I think the overall emphasis of people will remember you for this, kind of like how people have kind of done that to Michael Vick in a sense, I think is going to be what should hang. But in Michael Vick's case, I think there was a redemption
between Michael Vick did and what Deshaun Watson did. Michael Vick grew up not realizing that dogfighting was a bad thing. Where he grew up,
it was a normalcy.
It was a normalcy.
Right. Not to say it was right, but
no,
it was
absolutely not.
It's not right. It's not right at all. But it is a thing that happened in his town where he grew up. And when that happens, I mean, look, I will be honest, I've seen stuff when I've gone to the city in my old neighborhood where you just think it's normal. And you know it's not normal now growing up, but as a kid, you think...
Are you talking about cockfights?
No.
No. Don't lie.
That's in Puerto Rico. That's on...
Uh-huh.
Which I'm not saying I have...
Seen or not seen?
Yes, I'm not saying anything on that. But... Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, my uncle has been on the island he's in his 80s. So, and he grew up with that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, it's just regular, whatever. Like, goes to it like a normal thing. And it's like, I can't do this.
He served his time.
Right.
He came out.
Exactly.
And immediately said, what can I do to help remedy this situation?
Yeah.
I did not realize that it was as bad as it is.
Right.
To do this. Now I do. He got educated on it, made amends, and is now one of the biggest advocates for ASPCA and shelters and, you know, abused pit bulls and things like that there is out in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is really, I mean, and that's the thing that people forget is that Michael Vick spent 2 years in prison because of this. And came out and said, in those 2 years, I matured. I feel like I have completely changed myself. Yes, he got a chance to play football again after that, but you certainly felt like he had paid the price for it, even though, yes, there are still some people that will never accept it. But for his sake, he paid the price by going to prison. This man did not. He's getting a suspension and paying a fine.
Not only that.
Big difference.
But I don't know if people would even take Deshaun seriously if he came out, tears in his eyes, rolling down his cheeks, and go, you know what? I am absolutely apologetic for what I did. I've gone through therapy. They'd think it was a stunt.
Right.
To get back into the good graces of the world.
Yeah.
At this point, your reputation is so damaged. I don't know if there's anything that you could do. And I'm talking anything. I don't care if you bring a Super Bowl to the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
I don't think you can repair the damage. That being said, let me comment on something that we got into in our chat.
Yes, sir.
King B-Mac did want to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And say, do you really think it, to paraphrase, do you really think it was the booing or was it the rust? I think it was a combination of both. To be quite honest, you could see in his face, and I'm very good at reading people, that it was getting to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He didn't, at the end of the game, it's a preseason game.
Right.
Players get together, talk, straight off the field, didn't want to be out there anymore. No. You could tell it got to him.
Yeah. Well, there's something I've noticed from, and look, I played high school and I played 1 year of college. What do I know compared to an NFL, right? But I'll tell you this. It was when Sam Darnold was playing against Ohio State in their bowl game before I think he went to the draft. And I'm watching him against Joey Bosa and that incredible defense that was out there. And I'm looking at him playing that team. And there comes a moment, and I know you can't see because I got sunglasses on, but his eyes get really wide as he's looking over the defense. And you can just kind of tell a moment where a quarterback, especially a quarterback, is like, uh-oh, I might be in kind of a bit of trouble here. And he got hit, he got smacked, he threw interceptions. Yeah. He played bad because why? Probably you look into that quarterback's eyes. Matt Millen was the one that said it once before. He said, I looked into a quarterback's eyes and I saw nothing. And I said, we've won this game. He doesn't believe in himself. He doesn't have confidence. And I saw that with Deshaun Watson. He had not wide eyes, but he had that look, the look of sad disdain on his face.
Not deer in headlights so much, but just a blank stare.
Yeah, like
just that blank stare.
How do I do this again?
Yeah.
How does this work? I take the snap and then I throw the ball. Maybe a few more games, maybe the rust gets knocked off, but now it's 11 games he has to sit out. That's less time you have to spend with your first team.
More rust builds on.
Exactly.
My question to you now, though.
Yeah.
If you're the Cleveland Browns, do you go out and get Garoppolo?
I don't think so. I think they stick with Jacoby Brissett.
Really?
The only thing is that because at this point now you're saying, okay, he's out 11 games. And if you look at their schedule, they're losing, I would say maybe a good portion of them because they're playing some of the top quarterbacks right off the get-go. Herbert, Burrow, I mean, you go down the list. They're taking on some top-tier teams and playoff teams, be it past or current or whatever the case is. Those first 6 games, obviously, we talked about, those seem like they're very winnable. They could go 3-3. They could go 4-2. At that point, if you're saying they're maybe in a winning position to compete, perhaps they explore the opportunity, but it has to be, I think, for the right price. Otherwise, I think they just stick with Brissett and say, you know what, play out the 11 games. Let's see what we can do. And then once Deshaun Watson's back, we'll start over from the beginning when we have a clean slate of him not being suspended, when we know he's our quarterback, and then Brissett can either go on to another team or stay as the backup quarterback, whatever. But I don't think they're going to spend a draft pick just to kind of say, let's see if Jimmy can take us to another level, because I don't think Stefanski wants to do that, and I don't think really the Haslams want to do that. I don't think the Browns want to say give up a pick for a quarterback that we have a 1-year rental with. I don't think they want to do that necessarily.
Here's the problem with that, and I'll be real honest with you.
Yeah.
Your defense gets a year older.
That's true.
Amari Cooper gets a year older.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem Hunt's gone next year.
Yeah, he's not sticking around.
That leaves Chubb.
Yeah.
And the wear and tear that's going to be on Chubb this year is going to be ridiculous. And he hasn't gone a season yet where he hasn't been banged up at one point or another.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget. I mean, they do have Jerome Ford. I keep forgetting they drafted the kid from Cincinnati, and he's looked pretty good. And D'Ernest Johnson's got himself a nice lock spot with them too. So, but no, I understand what you're saying. Like, obviously, you take this year off. Defense gets older. Is Myles Garrett going to be happy anymore with this team? Are a lot of these guys, is Denzel Ward? I know he got his extension, but how much longer are they going to say, are we going to finally make the Super Bowl or not?
Was Baker Mayfield really that bad? That's the real question. Really? I know he's got a big mouth, but really? That bad? No, I don't think so.
I would say so. But that's me. But look, he's out for 11. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's out for 11 games. It will be very interesting to see how the Cleveland Browns react to this. Maybe they do go get Jimmy Garoppolo. It sounds like they may just stick with Jacoby. I don't know what their real plan is, and that's kind of part of the problem. It doesn't sound like the Chiefs have maybe another plan after, like, well, okay, so Brissett's the starter right now.
You mean the Browns?
Well, Browns, yes. Sorry, excuse me. But
I'm like, Deshaun Watson's on the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's one hell of a freaking quarterback room.
I don't know why Chiefs popped in my head, but I think the Browns have a plan. But I think after saying Brissett's our quarterback, it feels like there's a lot of, okay, so now what do we do? And if you're saying, well, let's just do what we've always done, rely on the run game and the defense, well, how long is that going to carry you? And that's part of the problem, because against Herbert and Burrow and even Mac Jones and a few of these other guys, is he going to match up with them? I don't see that. And that's the problem. So,
well, I'm going to say in conclusion, just so no one forgets, we will continue to say chocolate starfish until he retires. That is your new nickname, Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Chocolate starfish.
Absolutely. Yes. And there it goes. It goes up on the screen, of course. The double guns, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more we cover maybe with Deshaun Watson, because I feel like this story is not done yet, and kind of sucks because I was wishing this thing could kind of wash over. But for the time being, let's just take a breather on it and let's get to our next story here, because this one's a little bit more fun and exciting because it has a huge impact on what's going down with college football, folks. That's right. We're moving into college football. And we had already kind of talked about this because of the whole USC, UCLA coming over. We had made the announcement on, I believe we did it on Blow the Whistle for the radio, saying that it was going to be about $1 billion a year is what we're looking at. Well, it seems like the deal's a lock, stock, and barrel. The Big Ten have secured a 7-year, $7+ billion deal with CBS, NBC, and Fox. But unbelievably, no ESPN has been involved in this deal.
ESPN is now going to have the exclusive rights to the SEC and all the match.
Which is interesting because I think CBS is the one that carries them right now.
Their contract's up in 20.
Yes, their contract's up next year, though.
That's when this contract kicks in.
Right. So that contract kicks in, so then the SEC comes in and nabs all the rest of the SEC is what you're saying.
ESPN's going to have exclusive rights to the SEC.
Okay, all right.
Is how I'm understanding it.
Yeah.
That's why CBS is like, yes, please.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts about, obviously this is a huge deal.
I love every moment of it because people are glancing over this.
Right, yes.
But there are 3 letters that are in this deal that are huge.
Absolutely.
For the Big Ten. And it is NBC. Because guess whose contract with NBC is up in 2 years? I guarantee you this was Big Ten's intention the whole time. And what a move.
If
you outmaneuvered the SEC. Because the SEC can go, we'll have you on ESPN all the time.
Yeah.
No worries. No. I guarantee you, this is what's going to happen. Big Ten's going to pitch Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And go, listen, you can have every single one of your games on NBC.
Right.
Whether it's the first game or the primetime game when you play USC or Penn State or Ohio State. We'll put you prime time NBC, Saturday night college football, just like Sunday night football on NBC. And if you're playing a lesser team like Purdue, we'll put you in your normal 2:30 slot.
Yeah.
Every game will be televised and you can go and have fun. But then it comes to, all right, you want the big games?
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah.
Come to Fox.
Where we have Sunday night football, Sunday football. With the NFL plus now college.
Imagine this though. Ohio State and Penn State lands on the same date as Notre Dame USC.
Yeah.
You have Notre Dame USC on NBC primetime. You have Penn State, Ohio State primetime on Fox. who's winning this battle?
Right. Absolutely. Well, Big Ten does win this battle.
And that's what I'm saying is like this NBC being a part of this deal was strictly to go, hello, Notre Dame. Come join the Big Ten.
Well, the interesting thing about all this is that obviously we had heard beforehand, Notre Dame was saying that they would join a conference if only they would accept the offer of paying them $75 million.
Guess what?
Interesting thing about this deal, folks, this deal actually will pay out to each of these 16 schools between $80 to $100 million. How interesting. You know what's even more interesting, if I might say so? The athletic director for Notre Dame, Jack Swarbrick, praised the Big Ten for this deal and said it's also perfect for Notre Dame. We need NBC to have more college football to more efficiently promote our games and to talk about our games and to have NBC be seen in that light. So that was great for us that they got a big piece of this. So they're very happy that the Big Ten, I guess, is in the NBC world and that NBC took them on. I feel like there's a lot of love going on here that a marriage is possibly due.
Listen. They're in the courtship phase. They're opening car doors, opening doors to the restaurant.
Roses, chocolates. Stuffed animals at the fair. I mean,
let's go shopping.
Yeah. What do you want? Shoes, dresses? Let's do it all. Come on.
I'm telling you right now. This is the beginning of chaos. Because the moment Notre Dame commits to the Big Ten, and I really do think it's going to happen, probably at the end of this season.
Okay.
They'll give we're no longer an independent. We're going to go to the Big Ten, join UCLA, USC, and then let the chaos begin. Because I guarantee you, SEC is on the phone with Clemson, Florida State, Florida's already in the SEC, Florida State, Miami, all these big-time ACC. And I'll be real with you, I will not be surprised if the Big Ten goes North Carolina, Duke.
Yeah.
Just to bolster their basketball instead of
absolutely.
Football.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have Utah and Oregon sitting in the Pac-12 still. That wouldn't be surprised if Oregon goes to SEC, maybe even Utah.
Yeah.
As far as Big 12 schools left, that's tough. Kansas, possibly to the Big Ten.
Maybe.
More for basketball.
Yeah.
If Duke and North Carolina go Big Ten, I guarantee you Kansas is going to be on the phone. What's it going to take for us to join the Big Ten?
Yeah, because I heard some people say, well, would they possibly maybe look at the SEC? Problem with that is the Big Ten's closer at hand, so the travel wouldn't be as bad. And the SEC, yes, Bama and a few of those other schools have built up their basketball teams, no doubt, but your only real big competition is going to be against Kentucky then in recruiting. So, I mean, I could see where maybe they want to make the jump there because obviously Duke, UNC, that recruiting might be kind of tough. But either way, I agree with you, though. The basketball that's been there in the Big Ten, combine it with Duke and UNC, that's a money-making machine right there for college basketball. And the NCAA tournament itself just becomes wiped with cash.
And maybe Virginia Tech.
Possibly.
I would not be surprised to see Virginia Tech join the Big Ten.
See, I think Virginia Tech is still somehow tied with Virginia. I think because their rivalry obviously expands so long for both football and basketball, I think that
Tech or UV wouldn't be a bad. They're academically sound.
Absolutely.
So that fits. That's the difference between the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah.
The Big Ten is looking for outstanding academic schools with great sports programs.
Absolutely.
So UV, I mean, yeah, football and basketball haven't been there lately.
Yeah, in the last few years, it's kind of getting there a little bit.
But
they won a national championship and stuff. So
they rock.
Softball, baseball, they've done incredible jobs. Gymnastics, they've done a really good job. I mean, and yeah, they're football, but obviously, listen, Brennan Armstrong's one of those quarterbacks now that people are going, this guy got something in football now. Like, they've actually been playing pretty well. And their basketball team not too long ago did win a national championship. So they did also lose to UMBC. And I just like pointing that out because that was very fun. But
I called that.
I wish I had. God, I wish I had. But
I didn't put it in my bracket because no one ever does.
Of course, yeah.
But I said if there was one number 1 seed that was going to lose, it was Virginia. And I went, bro. But no, this is going to, and we talk about it all the time on Blow the Whistle. We live in chaos. We thrive
I
in
love
chaos.
it. I love it.
This is going to amp up every single bit of the chaos. And now they're talking about the SEC and the Big Ten being big enough and strong enough to go, hey, NCAA.
Yeah. Yes. Right now, as we speak, apparently there's a lot of conversations going on between the conferences and the NCAA about the potential of these bigger, more powerful conferences potentially breaking off from the NCAA. And it sounds like the college football committee being like the ruling power over them.
Which I don't necessarily mind because these are college presidents, former football players.
Yes.
That won't abuse the players, take advantage of the players the way they have for centuries.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm sorry too, but at this point, the way you and I have been brought up in this world of like, well, you go to school as a school athlete, like student athlete does not seem to exist at all anymore. It's in a relative sense of classes mean something because you know you're like a top athlete now.
I beg to differ.
Okay. All right.
Big Ten, it does. I will tell you this.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons was in the doghouse for the first month of his Penn State career because he skipped out on his first class and James Franklin caught it.
Okay.
He did not start. He came in off the bench for the first month.
Yeah.
Turned his attitude around, and
got himself a little bit on the straighter path.
Yeah.
And no, okay, I understand that. It's just in terms of like the stress, obviously, of the student. I think
you can go to any major university, and if you're a premier athlete,
right, and
major in PE.
Yeah, especially now when NIL rules now kind of rule the day, where now exactly, where now anybody's pretty much handing out a couple of bucks to somebody as long as you're a primo athlete. I mean, by the way, DeColdis Crawford has the greatest commercial of all time.
Did you see it?
I love it.
Fantastic.
That was gonna be my "You're Killing Me" Smalls. I forgot about it. I'll do it next week.
Fantastic.
It's great. But that's the thing is like now because of NIL and all this stuff, and now the NCAA is asking for help from some of these other schools to help with NIL, infractions that could seemingly be going on. So there's a lot of talk in the works right now about the future of college, not just college football. Obviously, that's kind of the centerpiece of it. But this expands out to college sports in general and how we're going to view it in the long term. Because
it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I can't wait to see what chaos comes this way. I hope it's like in the next 5 years, we're seeing North Dakota State winning a national championship. I swear to God.
Legit, if you are a high school prospect.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Arch Manning right now, I am giddy as giddy could be about what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Because you are going to get nothing but exposure. And you're going to find out very quickly if you're good enough to be that next level. Because if you have these two power conferences.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it goes for basketball, baseball. If you have these are the elite of the elite of the elite.
This only helps these kids even more to be able to be like, you're playing against the best. Now everybody in the country is watching you.
Yep. It's going to be awesome.
Can't wait. Congrats to the Big Ten. Obviously, it's a lot of money. It would be nice if we could get a share of that, but we'll talk. We will talk.
1%.
Yes, 1%.
1%. Nice. That's all. Por favor.
Kevin Warren, you're doing an awesome job.
Por
man.
favor.
Who would have thought that people were doubting you? And man, you're cleaning house.
Well, when you have a genius that they had before him.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, well, how can he take the next step?
Right. Where's Kevin Warren going to go from there? Yeah. USC and UCLA in a $7 billion plus deal. How about them, folks? SEC better watch themselves.
He just Goodwill Hunting everybody. How you like them apples?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you guys have liked these apples, because when we do come back here, folks, we're going to be playing one of our classic fun games, ladies and gentlemen. It's hot seat time here in the NFL. That's coming up next here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm still Andrew Valentin. I hope you all have enjoyed this one. I'm still here with the amazing Mr. David Dykstra here, ladies and gentlemen. And
Mister, you make me feel like I'm a school teacher again. Don't do that, man.
Well, and we are here, ladies and gentlemen. We just got done talking about the Deshaun Watson suspension of 11 games and the fine of $5 million. We just talked about the Big Ten getting a $7 billion deal with NBC, CBS, and Fox. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to a more fun situation. It is game time. That's right.
That was hot.
And he's feeling the burn, ladies and gentlemen, because it is time for the hot seat. That's right.
You know what I think of every time they talk about hot seat? I feel like they should have a Yosemite Sam. My biscuits are burning. My biscuits are burning. It's great.
That's I like that. Well,
we'll have to put it in for the next time.
Absolutely. We'll have to. Please don't slam us for copyright on that. But if, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the game, this is how the game works. We got 10 coaches in the NFL. We're going to hit them real hard with basically where we feel they are from a 0 flames to 5 flames on the hot seat meter. So please, ladies and gentlemen, obviously let us know. We want to hear from you guys as well. What do you think about these coaches? David, are you ready to do this, my friend? Let's do this. So we're starting this one off with the man himself from Arizona, Mr. Cliff Kingsbury. He's been, I guess, in Arizona. They had their best season thus far, making the playoffs, but they did have a very ugly exit in the playoffs nonetheless. So, David, I ask you, on the hot seat, where are you ranking him on a 0 to 5 flames?
To me, that playoff game, there's things there.
Okay.
One, do I think Cliff Kingsbury is a phenomenal head coach? And no, he never had a winning record at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I told my ex-wife, who is a Texas Tech alum, when he got hired at USC as the offensive coordinator, I was like, how the hell do you go from never having a winning season and win the lottery? And then he quits that to be the head coach of Arizona? I'm like, dude has a 4-leaf clover in his pocket.
Or he's falling ass backwards into some jobs.
Oh my, like he's loving his life. Now,
Absolutely.
do I think I would put this at probably a 2?
Okay.
There are extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins was injured.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be out for the first 6 games this year.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they make the playoffs this year because of that. You saw how badly Kyler Murray struggled.
Yeah.
And if you're going to sit here and tell me Hollywood Brown's the answer, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. He is not anywhere. I don't think he could hold DeAndre Hopkins' jock strap.
Ooh,
that's
man.
that's how bad I think he is compared to DeAndre Hopkins. Do I think he's a high-level number 2 wide receiver in the league?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I would call him a high-level number 2.
Okay.
But he is not DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's definitely, almost by definition, he's not DeAndre Hopkins.
They don't have a running game.
Yeah.
They need to have a running game for and it can't be Kyler.
Right.
it just they're I want to say they're one or two players away from being that team where everybody's like, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm in kind of the same boat. I'm gonna go with a 3. I would almost go a 4, but I'm gonna give him a 3 just because number one, we have to remember he and Kyler are kind of tied to the hip with each other. Like the reason why they got Kyler is because they got Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff Kingsbury has a relation. He's known Kyler Murray since high school, so that I think has to be understood. Like number one. Not having DeAndre Hopkins, yes, I understand. Like that certainly hurt them in the playoffs as well. But I don't know if he's a coach that's like calling the play. Last I had heard, he gave the playbook over to Kyler Murray, and now we're hearing that I guess he's kind of pulled it back and he's going to call plays. And I don't know if he's that prolific play caller like we see with guys like Matt LaFleur or Andy Reid or anybody like that who can just say the play and make it happen.
My question is, how long was he calling plays last year and then was like, well, Kyler's got it, I'll let him take over?
That I never found an answer to. I had heard it probably like week 6 or something like that. I think that was like it.
Enough.
Yeah.
They're undefeated.
Right. It was.
So maybe he is the genius that people seem to think he is and the organization seems to think he is.
I believe it was like week 6 I had heard it. Like he handed the playbook over to Kyler Murray and he was just like, yeah, he's running things now. So... But that's easier said than done when you have your star receiver, obviously.
I'm just saying.
So I would say a 3. Make it a little bit hotter, especially if they don't. If all of this noise affects them in a major way, and DeAndre Hopkins, we've seen what it's like without him. If Marquise Brown can't step up and at least be a comparable piece to catch the ball and score some kind of TDs, this could get a lot hotter for him, especially. All right, next coach we've got. Matt Rule of the Carolina Panthers. It has not been pretty for him, obviously, in 2 seasons so far. 10-23. Last year was very abysmal. Now, we've talked a lot about what happened with Carolina in the Sam Darnold situation, of course. So, for you, David, what are your thoughts? Where do you rank Matt Rule on the hot seat?
Quote, a great man, Billy Bob. 5! It's 5! He's probably got the hottest seat right now, in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because now you have 2 NFL starting quarterbacks.
Yeah. Top picks, mind you, too.
Top picks. If you can't make this offense work, and granted, I know what it hinges on, you better stay healthy. McCaffrey, you better stay healthy.
Be prepared.
Or Matt Rule is going bye-bye. And I don't want him to come back to Penn State and coach. So.
What do you mean? He's taking the job back down at Baylor. Or Temple.
Temple probably take him back.
Temple would probably take him back.
Hey, if Rutgers would take back Shiani.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Matt Rule could go back to Temple.
I will never understand how Matt Rule, who I believe never really had a winning season at Temple, still got the head coaching job at Baylor.
When you could take Temple from 1-10 to almost 500 and you almost beat your in-state rival Penn State.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you get some props.
I guess you get some props on that.
You get some props. And he did do one hell of a job at Baylor.
He did. He's been very good.
I think it was the right move for him. Listen, when there were all those rumors about James Franklin leaving I was like, ooh, please, God, let Rule go to Penn State. Please, God. I love him as a college coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do not think he's an NFL coach. I think he is of the ilk of the Nick Sabans. Am I comparing him to Nick Saban as a college coach? Hell no.
No.
But of that ilk where he can't get it.
He can't translate it.
Yeah, he can't translate to the NFL. I'm almost guaranteeing you when he gets back into college football, he's going to take some program to the promised land like he did Baylor.
No, I agree with you. I got him at a 5 too, honestly. And I to be truthful, it's how many times have we seen the jump from college head coach to NFL head coach?
Work?
Like, how many times?
Very often.
Pete Carroll might be the only one, and right now we're kind of hitting that. We're hitting like the down spiral.
Sake,
he's 70 now. He's 70.
Keeper.
Yeah, he's old. So
A 70-year-old with a 30-year-old mentality.
Right, exactly. And give him props, you feel young, sure, whatever. But I definitely think Matt Rule at this point, I think he's on his way out. He should have been an offensive coordinator first and then moved up to a head coach, because I think he went in over his head. I think they get the Sam Darnold thing thinking this will be the saving point. And now they get Baker Mayfield going like, this will be the saving point. And then I'm sure they'll go like they'll go sign somebody else in free agency, be like, okay, this will be the saving point. I got a strange feeling. I don't know about you, but I got a strange feeling that he may make it only through 7, maybe 8 games. And if they're terrible at that point, they may can him. I don't know. I get a distinct sense that the Carolina Panthers, because this is new owners, mind you, they could easily just say, you know what? You had 2 seasons.
And the new owner's very impatient.
No, he wants to get good.
Very impatient.
He wants to get good now. So, sorry, Matt Rule. Looks like you're on the way out at this point. All right, next we've got Kevin Stefanski. I know it sounds weird, folks. Just hang with me, right? He's got a winning record. He obviously made it to an AFC championship with the Browns. And yes, it was with Baker Mayfield. So, I guess props are due. But because of everything that's now happening, of course, with the Cleveland Browns, there is a discussion on whether or not Kevin Stefanski will have enough time to work with Deshaun Watson, or is there a good possibility that he could maybe exit out? That's a little bit of the rumor mill talking on that one. But, David, what do you think for Kevin Stefanski?
I swear to God, if Cleveland makes him the scapegoat for all this, I will never cheer for Cleveland ever again.
Wow. Okay.
Ever. And it's few and far between. Like, I liked Baker. I really liked Baker. And I was like, yeah, come on, Cleveland. You know, I'd like to see them. I'd like to see Cleveland get a championship.
Right, yeah.
I really would.
Okay.
But in the right way. And if you're going to get rid of a brilliant, and I do mean brilliant, head coach, because you screwed up and traded for a guy who liked the chocolate starfish things, that's on the organization, not the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had a decent, above average starting quarterback who tried to play when he probably shouldn't have last year.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people, and I keep telling people, and I keep telling people, if you go back and look at last year, when he threw to his right, he was dialed in.
Right.
It's when he tried to throw to the left that arm manipulated his throwing motion, and he was off, always. So that being said, for me personally, I put this at a 1.
Okay.
Maybe at 1.5.
Okay. I'm going to probably say for this, I think Kevin Stefanski is a very good coach. I don't know if I would put him on the genius level just yet, because this team obviously is very well stacked. I mean, but what he did in Minnesota as the offensive coordinator, I think he did a great job game planning around, all right, Kirk Cousins has some limitations. We've got Dalvin Cook. Let's run him. You can see this is the same kind of team we saw in Minnesota. Run the football as your strength, pass out of necessity when you need it to, and then have your defense just hunt. And I think it's a great game plan. I think it works for Cleveland for what that roster is. I think that's great. I'm going to say it's a 2, just because I think there's this feeling within the organization that somewhere you need to point fingers, and you just paid your quarterback. And unfortunately, I think, and so this is kind of like a faux flame, if you will. Like they're setting, like the seat is not on fire on its own. They purposely are setting his seat on fire because they may need somebody to point the finger at and say, well, this is why it didn't work. When the reality is, well, you know why it didn't work. You traded a bunch of picks for this quarterback that now has to sit out 11 games. So if the season goes wrong, guess who it's on? Now, if they have a 500 season by the end of it, Kevin Stefanski needs to get an extension. I don't know how long his contract is, but at that point, I think you have to say, all right, give this guy what he wants. Because he's clearly making your ball team, if not better, he's at least sustaining the same. He's not making you worse. He's keeping the straight and narrow, if you will, for this team in some respective manner. So I'll go with a 2. I know you like Baker. I liked Baker at the beginning. It's just when everything started to come on, the commercials, the charisma got too much, I think. And I think he got overenveloped with being famous, and I think that overtook him a little bit. And he was like, "Ooh, this is a lot."
We'll see.
We'll see. Matt Rule's got him now. Kevin Stefanski's got Jacoby Brissett, who's just like, "Yeah, I'm just here to play football, and we'll see what happens next week." Belichick man himself, and I think Kevin Stefanski loves it. All right, next guy we got up. Mike McCarthy. He was on our list last year. And we gave him, I believe, me and Drew gave him both 4 stars. I think Drew might have given him 5. I might have given him 5. I can't remember. But obviously, he has a winning record, we know, with the Green Bay Packers. And now with the Dallas Cowboys. He's coming off, I think, his best season of the Dallas Cowboys at 12-5. But we saw how it ended in the playoff game against the Niners. David, Mike McCarthy, 15 years in the league. What's the rating on that seat? Where you putting it?
His chair is on fire. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
And listen. We all know. We all know.
We know.
Listen, it comes down to this. 2 words. Sean Payton will be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. We all know it's going to happen. Oh, no. The only way that it does not happen is if the Cowboys reach the NFC Championship game. That is the only way Mike McCarthy does not get fired.
I distinctly remember you were very much in love with a young offensive coordinator that was on that team, I thought, being the next head coach.
I would have loved to seen him as the next. I don't think he's going to be the next head coach of Dallas.
Okay. But
not after. Come on now. Jerry Jones loves himself some Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore will be a coach somewhere. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Hell, after Atlanta goes 1 and whatever, please, Atlanta, hire Kellen Moore as your next head coach.
Yeah.
I will do backflips naked. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
I would be excited as all get out.
Yeah.
That being said, it's easily a 4. Easily, because I truly do believe unless he reaches the NFC Championship game this year, he gone.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. To go with our boy King B-Mac, he said in terms of them making the NFC Championship, he says, which they won't, so he'll be gone. And he says, there's only 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the Dallas Cowboys choking in the first weekend of the playoffs if they make it. Amen, brother.
And I honestly don't have them making the playoffs this year.
That's true. You don't. I've given them actually a little bit more faith than you have, which...
Eagles win that conference. The Commanders.
I don't know about that. I really don't. We'll see.
Listen, everything that I've heard out of Commanders camp is that Carson Wentz is a piece of trash. He can't hit a wide receiver for his
got
life.
an accuracy
But they have Sam Howell. I hope to God he starts this year. I would flip biscuits because I do think Sam Howell is the future starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders.
Could be. Kirk Cousins can do it. So can Sam Howell, I guess, at this point. So I'm in agreement, though. I'm actually going to sit it at a 5 at this point. Listen, if Jerry Jones is saying out there, I have options. If he's saying that, that's a direct threat to Mike McCarthy right there. Like, you better get it done.
Listen, it boils down to the fact that Sean Payton is just sitting at home going, I'm going to be a Dallas Cowboy next year.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know. I'm sure Jerry Jones will pitch him because
show bet?
I'm fine with that.
Sandwich?
We'll do a sandwich.
We do a sandwich.
Because I'm hungry right now, too. So
we ain't doing this Subway BS either.
No, we'll do Jersey Mike's. Yeah. I knew where you were going.
That's my dog.
I knew where you were going with
baby.
that. Yeah. I'm picking that up now on the way home. I'm hungry. No, listen, I mean, especially, too, when Jerry's like, I don't got many birthdays left, I don't think. So I'm pretty sure Mike McCarthy's probably getting canned after this year. I do agree. I do think there's a good chance that they could. I think they can have a winning record, but they could completely miss the ball on being in the playoffs, honestly. And that's a sad thing to say, like winning record, but miss playoffs. Jerry don't like that. It means you gone. So
I don't know how many years I have to hear Ezekiel Elliott's in the best shape of his career, and then he comes out
come on.
poos the bed.
Last time I heard, he was fat. That's the last thing I heard is somebody posted something on or Twitter and Instagram, and they showed him running, and he's like, yo, Ezekiel look fat. Just straight up, that's what I said. Yo, Ezekiel look fat. So I don't know, man.
I think that was somebody bigger in an Ezekiel Elliott uniform.
It was Eddie Lacy?
I think it was.
Oh, man. All right. Well, congrats to Mike McCarthy. You're getting fired. All right, next we got Dan Campbell from the Detroit Lions.
You just want to kill this one right now? There's zero chance that dude's getting fired. No, there is zero chance this dude is getting fired. One, he is the most popular coach in the NFL right now because of Hard Knocks.
That's very true.
2, they are making the playoffs this year. That's right. I said it.
That's a bold statement.
That's right. I said
bold
it.
Statement.
They are going to be the second best team in the NFC North.
Man, that is bold to say, my friend. All right.
Bears are going to be the worst. Vikings are going to be next to last. And I'm not saying they're going to be great.
Right.
I think 10-7 is the extreme for them.
Okay.
I'm looking 8-9, 9-8.
Yeah. We went over the schedule a little bit, and I think that you could see that happening with them very easily.
The NFC is such trash. I could see an 8-9 team getting in.
Yeah, they could easily take in command of some of those. Plus, they're playing some of the weaker teams in the AFC as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to have some easy walk-in wins, I would assume.
0.
So
0.
I'm only going to give him one flame just because – I'm only saying one flame because there's certainly – because bravado, obviously what they've done in this offseason, the identity and the idea is – you have to be better than last year,
and
right?
he may have the best coaching staff in all NFL.
Well, yeah, we've talked about that.
Listen, man, I can't express how great that coaching staff is.
Aaron Glenn, Deuce Staley. I mean, you go through
Mark Brunell.
It's a roster of guys.
Antoine Randall L., which I can't even tell you how much I love Antoine Randall L. I
still have his introduction saved in a computer file.
Literally one of my all-time favorite college players, and Pittsburgh Steeler players.
University of Indiana quarterback turned wide receiver, should be a broadcaster because he's got the chops for it. But clearly, he's also a really good coach.
He has passion for the game.
Absolutely.
And the crazy thing is, even when Randall L. is coaching wide receivers, he can go and help Mark Brunell.
That's what's crazy.
That's scary.
What was it? I saw somebody say that, I guess, in a media thing. He screamed at Jared Goff, "Don't throw the ball like that. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Can't catch it if it goes too far out." So I think there's fun in this team. I'm just saying one flyer because obviously with everything that's happened this offseason, I think expectations are going to be a little bit too high from maybe the team potentially. But I think he's not getting fired anytime soon.
I think
he makes the playoffs. He gets an extension.
This is what I'm going to say right now, and I will go on record. I think in 3 years, the cream of the NFC North will be the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
Think about that.
And we haven't said that since the 50s.
That's going to be scary.
50s, 60s, 50s, 60s. When was Bobby Lane playing again? 50s, right? Pretty sure. Poor old curse of Bobby Lane. At least that's over with now. All right, let's get to our next guy, because the next guy is a guy that we all know and love here in this city. It is Lovie Smith.
I see what you did there.
From the Houston Texans. Look, we know who he is here in Chicago. We've seen what his career has been. Obviously in Tampa, not so great. He's getting his first head coaching start since 2015, taking over for David Culley, who obviously
trash.
I'm sorry. I predicted he was going to get canned right after last year. I got that one right.
But it does say a lot about Lovie that he was the defensive coordinator for that team, and they liked him so much that they were like, "Come, be our head coach."
Absolutely. Well, I mean, here's my always question, because you got to remember, this guy is, if I'm not mistaken, he's a native of Texas.
He is.
He coached at Texas.
He did.
And now and if I'm not mistaken too, I think his religion is also, he is a Christian, if I'm not mistaken too. I don't know that for certain. I'm not going to speak on that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think bundle all of that together and consider that he did make a Super Bowl, winning one with Tampa as a assistant.
You need
there.
a wholesome dude at the helm of this team right now.
Absolutely. Considering everything that's gone on from...
Because you're good Christian owners.
Who knows what's up with them? You got the quarterback coming back in week 13. Obviously, that's going to be on the mark. I'm going to say for him right now, I'm going to put it, if I could do a 2.5, I would, but I'll say a 3 right now.
I'm right there with you.
Just because again, this is kind of like the McNair saying, look, if the fire's not already on him, we'll light the fire and sacrifice him.
He's already had a gut punch this year.
That's true, yeah.
Poor. Prayers and thoughts and good vibes to Mency.
Yeah, John Mechie the third, who unfortunately has come down with leukemia. Our hopes and prayers are with him. He seems to be in good spirits, though, to say that I'm going to come back from this. I think they caught
it pretty early.
Yeah, so
that's pretty. It's really all going to be predicated on the development of Davis Mills.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he takes the next step, which he was, the second best quarterback in that rookie class last year by the numbers.
Right, yes.
By the numbers.
It was only...
Do I sit here and say that he's the best quarterback in that class?
No, yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, time will tell, but I think as of this point, I think it's a far-fetched say.
Listen, you're going to see the real Trevor Lawrence this year, ladies and gentlemen. Not someone handcuffed by an idiot.
I think you're going to see a lot of Trey Lance popping, folks.
That too.
Just saying, I think there's a lot of...
And I'm going to put it out there. I think you're going to see... I don't think he's going to have the year that maybe Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance do.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to see some development from Justin Fields too. Because in that first game, he looked super comfortable and super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
He did not look lost.
No, absolutely.
So I think all three of those guys are going to take a step forward.
Yeah.
Some bigger than others, but let's just get this straight now. And you can giggle when I say this. Mac Jones is about to get hurt. Mac Jones is about to take a huge step back.
He's still not looking comfortable in that offense. They sound like they're very frustrated with him.
How would you? You've got 5 freaking guys talking to you at the same time. No, you need to do this. No, you need to do this. No, you need to do this. One of them's a defensive coordinator, for God's sakes.
One of them was a special teams coach.
Jesus.
Sorry.
What are you, Bill, are you just trying to prove that no matter what the obstacle is, you can overcome it and become a great team?
I mean, I don't want to go long on this question, but is it possible he's just trying to sabotage before he retires?
Get fired?
Yeah, just be like, I'm going to burn it all down. Hell with Robert Kraft. I'm going to do whatever I want.
No, because he's got his franchise quarterback right behind Mac Jones.
All right, we're moving on.
No!
You've made your case for Bailey Zapp.
Zap. I'm telling you right now.
You better jump on that marketing Patriots, or we'll jump on that. I can think of a bunch of things like the Patriot Zapper. Come on, folks. We can do this. All right. Next, we've got Frank Wright from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, we have seen him obviously do his thing in Philly. He's now in Indianapolis. I thought he's done a decent job. But what do you think, David?
I'm going to say it real quick.
Yeah.
The only way this fire gets lit is if they don't make the playoffs.
Okay.
The only way. He's got Carson Wentz last year, Matt Ryan this year.
Quite a step up.
I'm going to say this right now. Because Matt Ryan is there this year,
yeah,
Pittman is going to be an all-pro wide receiver.
I believe that. I definitely believe that.
And that's scary, knowing what they have in that backfield.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Absolutely.
I do. They are my sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl this year. Sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl this year. I could very easily see them going to the Super Bowl.
They have the defense.
I will be cheering and rooting for them the whole way. The only thing that I worry about is that Tampa Bay gets there too, and then it's Julio and Matt, and I don't know who to cheer for. Because both of them deserve to have rings.
Absolutely.
Absolutely deserve to have rings.
I listen, Julio right now, I would say lock for the Hall of Fame. There's a good chance you can make an argument potentially for Matt because he does have an MVP. He has been to Pro Bowls. He's been an All-Pro.
Do you want a comparison? He's the Dan Marino of our generation.
That's a tall order on that.
Do you deny that though?
I don't know if Dan Marino's maybe the right guy. I would maybe go more old school and say Dan Fouts, if you will. Which I think is
that's not bad either.
I don't think that's it, because I'm thinking about the comparison on how those two guys are, and Matt Ryan is a guy that has that same aggressive mode like both of them. So I don't necessarily know. I would say Dan Marino because he's not really shattering records.
But even then, Fouts is in the Hall of Fame. So either way.
So
I
think if you're saying that, then yeah, I would say that Matt Ryan. I think he's got a good shot to be there.
Yeah,
so.
I would say the only way that his seat even gets remotely toasty is if they. And in that division, I don't think they have much to worry about.
I would have said 2, but I think because of getting Matt Ryan and now seeing obviously how he works with this team, and let's not forget Alec Pierce is still working his butt off, and I think he's going to be something special.
Angels upon high came down as soon as they got Matt Ryan, and like all of Indianapolis is like, oh.
And that defense still very sick. Shaq Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Julian Blackmon.
In my mind, I'm going, Matt Ryan's going home every night and going, so this was what it would be like to have an offensive line my entire career. I could have played as long as Brady.
Yeah, let's not. They have two of the, I would say, the best dynamic duo in a front offensive line in Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly. So I would say, I would have said 2, but because they upgraded, I would say right now, the Flames sitting at 1. I'm going to give it a 1. I'm going to just say it's there, but it's just getting toasty. It's just a little bit.
It's tindery.
Yeah, it's a little. There's a little bit of a. Do you smell smoke? I smell a little bit of smoke. But I think Frank Wright has honestly solidified himself, and Jim Irsay seems to be enamored with him. And I think they're both really in good connection. So I have no doubt that Indianapolis is in a good spot. All right, next we've got Brandon Staley from the Chargers. Interesting, I know, because it's been 1 year, and I know we've talked a lot about where the Chargers will be at because we just talked about the NFC West on Blow the Whistle. But what are your thoughts, man? Brandon Staley 1 year in, but there's already 3. Really?
He's an idiot.
Whoa.
He's a genius, but an idiot at the same time.
Okay. All right.
Great offensive mind. Brilliant offensive mind. But cannot call a game. Cannot make the right decision at the right time.
Yeah.
His in-game decisions are horrid.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe that if they don't make the playoffs, he might go bye-bye.
I actually agree with that. And that's why I personally myself, I'm putting him at a 4. Listen, this guy was the defensive coordinator for the Rams.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brilliant defensive mind.
Yes. He's done a great job.
There's so many great offensive minds that are head coaches right now. I just thought he was another one of them.
Well, and that's where I'm going with this, because we talked about this a little bit with Eberflus and the Fields thing. I feel like Staley with Justin Herbert is kind of pulling him back. You know what I mean? Like, he goes off. But I think that Staley's defense kind of hinders them because that's kind of his main focus. And he's not being able to help his quarterback out. That defense is great, but I think you need somebody in there who can build Justin Fields like he's already here with all these other top quarterbacks, for sure. But you want him to get to like here where he's 2 or 3.
I apologize for my idiocracy. I really do.
It happens.
Let me throw this out.
Go for it.
They don't make the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
He gets canned. Here's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore is the next head coach of the Chargers.
I think Justin Herbert would be very happy with that. Considering that Kellen Moore has done a great job putting together offensive schemes for the Dallas Cowboys when they've had almost nothing.
He makes Dak look like an all-pro quarterback.
He got Cedric Wilson paid. He got Michael Gallup paid. That's saying a lot, folks. That's saying a lot.
Could you imagine what he could do with those weapons?
Yeah. Dude, he turned Dalton Schultz into potentially an all-pro tight end.
Who just got paid.
He's going to get paid. Come on, man. Come on, folks. So I like that. Kellen Moore working with Justin Herbert. And that's, I think, what he needs.
I might pull a U if that happens. I'm not lying. I might become a Chargers fan.
Listen,
that would be hard for me not to enjoy. That would be to me, I could see that turning into the next greatest show on turf.
It could. The only concerns I have is Keenan Allen's getting older and the injuries are starting to become more frequent.
You can go out and get yourself another wide receiver.
That's all they have to do. And Mike Williams.
And draft one, because it's going to be deep again this year.
There's a lot of them. But as long as Mike Williams stays healthy, we see what he can become. And I think he could potentially take that next step to being a top 10 wide receiver this year with Justin Herbert. But I think, Staley, you're on a 4 for me. You're on the Flames, man. You messed this up. You missed the playoffs like you did last year on a field goal from Carlson. You're going bye-bye.
To quote the great Hawk Harrelson, he gone.
He gone. And next up, we have a guy who I'm going to just rush on this one. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Robert Saleh, I think he's gone.
I think he's at 1.
Really?
Yep.
I'm putting him at a 3.
Why? Okay. And this, I'll put it to you this way.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have a losing season.
Right.
But I think they're going to be better than anybody thinks they're going to
improve.
Yes.
Okay.
You got Joe Flacco going week 1, baby. Yeah. Uh-huh. I think that defense is going to be mean this year. You're going to have the rookie of the year defensively on your team.
That's very possible. Ahmad Gardner is looking.
We love you.
He's looking special. Yeah, absolutely.
Not as special as Jaquan Brisker, but special.
God. No biasy.
None at all.
No biasy at all.
None at all. But no, Sauce is my pick for defensive rookie of the year this year. It very rarely goes to a cornerback unless they are epically good.
This may be the next best guy since Charles Woodson.
He's epic. He's Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
I'll say it right now. He's a reincarnation of Darrelle Revis, but taller.
Yeah. And possibly faster. I don't know. They both tackle well too. This guy form-fit tackles like Revis.
I truly believe they're going to what the Jets organization knows how bad they were when Saleh came in.
Yeah.
I think they're at least going to give him 3 years.
Okay.
To prove it. They want to see progression though.
Right.
If they have another 1 season, yes.
And that's where I kind of am at because and it's again the defensive minded coach with the I'm just gonna say I think Zach Wilson's got that special something. I definitely think he's got that special something.
I think you've got more than I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm being quite honest. The kid has a cannon for an arm. If they get him protection and give him time, he had a great second half of the season last year.
He did.
He played well. Not oh my God, but you could see him progressing and it starting to slow down for him.
Right, and I think that's what you can bank off of. But again, I think it's Robert Saleh pushing a lot on the defense. And listen, they had a great draft,
I'll
right?
tell you what's going to make the difference for the Jets this year. Breece Hall.
I think so.
Breece Hall's going.
I'd say Breece Hall, and they have to get the emergence of Garrett Wilson, the man from Ohio State. They have to get that star special wide receiver to shine like he did at OSU. The OSU. Sorry. But I just feel like
you're lucky that there may be kids watching because birds would be flying now.
I know. But I look at where the Jets are at, and Joe Douglas, I think, knows I had a good draft, but I think Robert Saleh is one of those guys right now. He's sitting there just as a question mark because
I like him. I like
him too. Don't get me wrong. I like him. I just don't know if he's the best option for this team. You know what I mean? When your quarterback's your star, you might want to have him be kind of the big piece to work with. Absolutely.
I really think Saleh's got a solid coaching staff. I do know that.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to lean on his offensive coordinator and his quarterbacks coach hard to make this improvement. And I think it will happen. Am I going to sit here and say that they're going to be the best in the AFC East? No. There's a guy called Josh Allen in that division.
Yeah.
They might have a better record than the Patriots.
Maybe.
Wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Hey, he could. I think he can beat one game against Mac Jones. I think he can definitely beat one game against Tua. I think it's very possible.
You're not going to like what I have to say.
Go ahead. Everybody knows where I stand with this guy.
I truly think Tua is going to turn into something this year.
He better.
Because they're not going to ask him to do those deep balls.
He better. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're putting a player on the hot seat, en fuego, mi amigos, en fuego.
Oh, yeah. It's a proven season for Tua.
Absolutely.
We got you everything. You've got a solid top. I'm saying this very, very loudly.
Yeah.
Gesicki's going to be a top 5 tight end this year.
I think he can definitely take that step.
With the lack of coverage that he's going to have on him this year because of Tyreek Hill and Waddle on both ends.
If he doesn't get utilized, something went wrong.
Yes.
Something went wrong. So
exactly. And then you have all that. Plus, you have decent running backs this year.
Yeah. As long as they stay healthy.
You have no excuses.
Yeah.
None.
All right. Well, last guy up there, and this is a toughie, I know, but it is Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders. Now, the hard thing about this is obviously we know he is a successful coach. And, of course, I will say, too, because he's a son of the city, a former 85 Bear, there is that little bit of bias, I'm sure, for some people that'll be like, no, you can't let him go. But here's the problem. Washington has been kind of steadily kind of on this small pace of just being good enough to just barely move through the ranks. And obviously he had the whole situation with fighting with cancer, which we're glad to be able to see that he's now 100% good to go and everything. But
congratulations to Dickie V, by the way.
Absolutely, yes. Dick Vitale, ladies and gentlemen. The man.
Cancer-free.
Cancer-free.
Congratulations, sir.
100% amazing that the man's going to be back in action. Calling basketball, baby. Yeah.
I won't even be annoyed anymore. Legit.
I love him. But Ron Rivera, it sounds like he really might be sitting on a hot seat potentially. But what do you think, David? Where do you rank in his hot seat right now?
I'm going to go 3.
Okay.
I think the Commanders are better than anybody thinks they are.
Yeah.
I think that defense rebounds, and that's I think where the upper management is looking.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that defense can get back to where it was 2 years ago, that offense is better already.
Right.
They've got 2 legitimate wide receivers now instead of 1.
Yeah.
You've got if Logan can stay healthy, he's an amazing tight end.
Absolutely.
And as much as everybody doesn't want to admit it, Carson Wentz is a step up from Tyler Heineke.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But I don't think Tyler Heineke is going to be the second quarterback this year. I think
because
they got a steal. They absolutely got a steal in that 5th round. Sam Howell was a Heisman candidate last year at the beginning of the year.
Right.
He had nothing. And when I mean nothing, you go into the cupboards last year at North Carolina, there were cobwebs. Lots of cobwebs. And he did come back at the back end of that season and looked really, really good.
And he looked better for sure. That first part of the season was
and everybody's
rough.
like, well, Dave, he was playing against 3rd and 4th string players that weren't going to make. I'm not looking at that when it comes to when those players are playing.
Right.
I'm looking at, are you hitting your wide receivers in stride?
Yeah.
Are you putting the ball in the proper place? His deep ball looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I'm telling you, if it doesn't happen this year, it will happen next year or the year after. Sam Howell will be the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders.
At this point, I think I'm in the same agreement. I think Ron Rivera is at a 3 for me. He's no longer doing the GM head coaching thing because now they have Mike Mayhew who's taking over as the GM, which I think is good. A lot of this, again, is I think it's a toxic ownership, obviously, with Dan Snyder and
NFL.
And I'm sorry, but I think his wife, Tanya, is also, I'm sure, in some way involved in this, too.
Oh, yeah.
I just have to assume at this point. And it's assumption, so I maybe shouldn't do that, but the Snyders, man, they're just not good people. So I have a bad feeling that if the season doesn't turn the way they want it to, Dan Snyder could easily say, okay, Ron, we tried this. It didn't work. I need to let you go. Which I think, honestly, would be the worst move they could make, because if you want anybody out front in front of the press talking, Ron Rivera is one of those coaches right now who I would say veteran coach, everybody respects, everybody loves, and the team loves him.
And he's not going to say anything stupid.
Exactly, and he's not going to say anything dumb. He's going to stick to what the quote-unquote script is and be a team player for you. He may not agree with what's going on with Washington, of course. He may not even like Dan Snyder. I definitely don't think he likes him at all. But I definitely think that he is what's best for the organization. But I have a distinct feeling that they will look at every possible outcome of what happens in the season. Every loss will count as a chip that they will use to potentially say, we're breaking him away from the team. So I hope you're right that they can make the playoffs, because I think that's unfortunately the only way that he might be able to save his career at this point. Because after this, I don't know. I'm sure there's a team that will take a look at him, but I don't know where else he goes after this, unfortunately. You spent all that time in Carolina. You've now spent kind of your later years here. He's in his 60s at this point. You kind of have to think, like, are you going to keep coaching at this point? Like, you just had health problems too. So
yeah,
it's make or break, I think, unfortunately, for this. But I am putting it at a 3 because maybe there's a little bit of leniency that they'll be willing to give him. I don't know. And that's the problem with Washington. We don't know what's going on with Washington. We don't know if Dan Snyder's going to get fired or if he's going to get fined again or what. You frustrate me, Washington. You really do.
NFL frustrates me.
The NFL does that. But the Washington Commanders, for some reason, you're right there with like Ben Simmons and Antonio Brown and Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving. You get under my skin. God, you suck. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Hot Seat here, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here far too long because, speaking of Hot Seat, my butt's gone numb from all the heat on this one.
Well, the Bears game's on, man. We got to go.
Yeah, we got to go because we got to see how badly this thing goes. But, David, thank you as always for joining me, man. It's been an honor to be able to talk some sports with you, be able to kind of break some good news with you, my man. So please let the people know where they can find you, listen to you, all that good stuff.
You can listen to me Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the BetQL network, on the Odyssey app, on the Daily Tip, hosted by Chelsea Messenger and Michael Jenkins. I pop in maybe once or twice a show to talk and give my opinions on things. You can also find me on Mondays from 2 to 4 with my boys doing Blow the Whistle, Andrew and Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You can typically find me Wednesdays. It's going to be Thursdays.
Yeah, you guys are switching to Thursdays now.
We're switching to Thursdays so we can get all that goodness.
Mm-hmm.
With my boy Darius Specialist Jefferson doing The Lockup. It's a professional wrestling talk show podcast on, I believe. That's it. You can find me on Instagram at ddykstra7795. You can find me on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter at David Dykstra4. By the way, Lawrence Holmes followed me today.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Lawrence, for following my boy here.
Yeah, baby. Talked to him a little bit today about some stuff. And I believe that is it, my man.
All right, cool. Well, guys, make sure to go follow our man here, David Dykstra, on all of his social media, whatever it is at this point. You guys also, too, make sure to give some love to our boy in the back, TJ Knacker. TJ, as always, you do an awesome job. Make sure to follow him at Knack300 on Instagram, on Twitter, on all his social media, at TJ Knacker, of course, on Facebook as well. You can always find him here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show with myself, Andrew Valentin. I'm always here as well, the Fluffy Guru on Twitter, at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram, where you guys can follow myself, too. Make sure to follow our show, facebook.com/Team X-Bomb Sports. Also follow us on the YouTube page as well, where we go live 5:30-ish to 6:30-ish, depending on who's up here, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, also to be prepared for some of the new changes we're going to be having here very soon. We're trying to get into the mix of some new stuff we're going to try to do and adding some new things. So be on the lookout for that. Also, too, make sure to follow. Sorry, food burps are coming up. Make sure to follow us at our Instagram and our Twitter at XBomb Sports. And also, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to hit us up at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Go through the podcast stuff real quick. Blow the Whistle, Monday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Blow the Whistle on the TV side, 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Central Time. Catch us on YouTube for the show. Catch us on SportsTownChicago.com for the radio stuff. Also, check out our boy Brandon at 94.3 WMKR if you're going through the center.
Big time, Brandon.
Illinois in the south side there on Taylorsville. You can catch him at 94.3 Genuine Country.
Yeehaw!
You can also check him out at Baseball Banter with Brandon on Spotify.
Waiting for you to ask us to join you, dude.
Absolutely. And while you're on Spotify, check out Money Motivation with Hannah B, done by our very own Hannah Brummer, where it gives you all the great things about positive vibes. And check her out at 102.3 XLC, The Afternoon Drive, where she's killing it on the radio, doing her big time thing, as well as doing it in the morning at 96.7 The Star.
Even
with another
time in it.
Big time Eddie Volkman himself doing the morning show, the After 8 Hours morning show. So be on the lookout for that too, well, folks. Also, too, check out our guys at the Parlay. That's right, Kendall Gill, former Chicago Bull and professional boxer, goes alongside our boy Tilo, a.k.a. Tony Lopez, as they talk.
You ruined it.
I had to. You can't keep doing the joke. It ruins the joke. But, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow them at theparlay.com for your boxing, MMA, and combat sports needs. And finally, if you guys need any of your fantasy football news, check them out at the Fake Football Guys. That's right, our boy Dustin and JC. We just did a live show today. Go check it out. It's at the Fake Football Guys on YouTube right now. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching and listening. We'll catch you all in the next episode next week. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.